Fitness Testing 8.4 by George Smith. The first test you did was the yo-yo test. The reason why I chose the yo-yo test for you was because it tests muscular endurance, which is an element of fitness needed in your sport, football. Your score for this test was 16.6, which puts you in the average range of 15.6 to 17.3. This is good because it shows you have a reasonable muscular endurance, but if you improved your muscular endurance, you can improve your sporting performance. You were well prepared for the test. You were wearing appropriate clothing, running shoes, shorts, and a t-shirt, and you were also well hydrated because you had plenty of water before and after the test. However, the test wasn't completely suited to you because the levels kept going up, and in a game you would be exercising at a steady pace with evenly quick sprints. During a game, you would need to sprint to get the ball, jog to move up and down the pitch, and walk when the ball goes out of play. However, by improving your sprints in such an intense way, you should find sprinting in an actual game easier. Also, this was your first time and you were inexperienced, and with practice, you will get better at the yo-yo test. You didn't stick to the beat every time, but if you practice it more times, you will know what to do next time. In order to improve your muscular endurance and your yo-yo test score, I recommend that you incorporate a spinning class into your training because it involves high intensity interval training, which will improve muscular endurance in your legs and will allow you to keep running in short bursts for 90 minutes. Doing the test frequently, once a week, will improve your muscular endurance and your aerobic endurance. You need to do the spinning class to a high intensity, pushing yourself to your maximum effort. If you use high cadence, turning your pedals faster, you will improve aerobic endurance, but we are concentrating on muscular endurance, so you need to use high resistance, not high speed. The class will take 1 hour per week, and it will be an important part of your football training. This test will improve your muscular endurance, aerobic endurance, and speed, so it will really help with your performance as a football player. The physiological adaptations that you will achieve with spinning will be to increase your lean muscle mass in your legs, which will in turn improve your power to weight ratio, which will make it easier for your body to run for longer. Your muscles will be stronger, which will allow them to work for longer. You will get lean muscle in your quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes, and your muscle will experience hypertrophy to some extent. When your legs are experiencing resistance from turning the pedals, the slow twitch muscle fibers will be under pressure and they will increase in size. There will be more room for mitochondrial activity, which is the part of the muscle that produces aerobic energy, so your body will produce more energy. There will also be an increase in the myoglobin, which carries oxygen to the mitochondria. These changes within your muscles can increase your VO2 max by up to 20%. You currently have an average level of muscular endurance, but if you introduce spinning into your training, you can potentially increase your VO2 max by 20%, so you can achieve the next level up in the yo-yo test. The reason why I chose the 1.5 mile run for you is because in football you need a good cardiovascular fitness to be able to run for the entire game without getting out of breath, and that you will have enough oxygen to be supplied to your working muscles. You got 12 minutes and 10 seconds in your run, which puts you as average, but only 10 seconds off the good category, which was 12 minutes and less. You have a good starting point for cardiovascular endurance, but if you improved it, then you could run more throughout the game. You prepared well for your test. In your warm-up, you did jogging, leg exercises, and stretching, so your legs were warm and you were ready to run without getting injured. Also, you wore running shoes, shorts, and a t-shirt, so you were wearing appropriate clothing. This allowed you to be unrestricted when running. When you did the run, you did the vertical jump and 35-meter sprints before. This would have meant that you would have been feeling more tired and more fatigued than usual. As a result, you wouldn't have done as well because your leg muscles would have hurt more towards the end of the run than if you had done it fresh. So you probably would have run it faster and finished in a good category instead of an average category. Next time you could do the test fresh, so you run it as fast as possible. By improving your cardiovascular fitness, you will comfortably be able to run for a whole football game. Your VO2 will increase, which will mean your body will be able to take in more oxygen and use it more effectively to make energy. Your blood volume, mitochondrial size, and density will increase, and you will improve your muscle tone. In order to improve your cardiovascular fitness, I recommend that you do fartlek training. It will use your aerobic and anaerobic energy systems. You can run up to the copse from Woodland Avenue on rough ground. You'll have to stop running to cross the road at the top, but then you can do a gentle jog on soft grassland, jogging to the windmill. The reason I have chosen fartlek is because it improves both aerobic and muscular endurance, as well as balance and proprioception in the ankle, knee, and hip. All of these aspects are useful for a football player. It will help you to improve the mitochondrial size in your muscles so you can create more energy using oxygen. It will also develop neuromuscular patterns and improve muscular tone. You will improve your cardiovascular systems, which will give you a lower resting heart rate. This will give you more capacity between your resting heart rate and your max heart rate, which will help you to get through a 90-minute game. It will take you 1 hour per week for 2 weeks. The 35-meter sprint test is relevant to you because in football you will need to be fast in order to run, to get the ball and outpace opponents. In the 35-meter sprint test you got 5.1, which was good, but you were only 0.01 of getting excellent. This shows sprint is a major area of strength for you and it will be useful in football games. The advantages of when you did the test was that it was the first test of the day, so you were fresh and you could perform at your best. You also wore appropriate clothing because you had running shoes, shorts, and a t-shirt. This will allow you to get a long stride length, which will be important for you to get a good time. The disadvantages of the test is that you didn't have a water bottle with you, so you couldn't have a drink before you did the test. This meant that you were dehydrated and your blood would not be able to circulate oxygen and nutrients around your body as well if you were hydrated. If you had drunk water before, then you might have run faster and either got excellent or elite. Next time you need to make sure that you bring a water bottle so you can stay hydrated. By improving your speed for even further, you will be able to outpace other players to the ball. I recommend interval training where you work at a high intensity for a short amount of time. This will be running 15 meters, 25 meters, 35 meters, and 50 meters at 90% of your maximum heart rate. It takes 3 minutes for the ATP PC system to replenish itself, so you have 3 minutes rest in between each sprint. As a result of this training, your energy systems will become more efficient. Your ATP-PC system will be able to break down phosphocreatine easier, and you'll be able to produce more energy by increasing the storage capacity of the muscles and also by increasing the muscle capacity to resist fatigue. The vertical jump test is important in football because you need to be able to jump high in order to header the ball out of your box when the opposite team delivers a cross, but also it is a mean of explosive power which is needed for acceleration. In the vertical jump test, you got 67.6 centimeters, which is 2 centimeters over elite. This is clearly another area of strength for you, and you can be really strong at heading the ball out when the other team put a ball into your box. It also explains why your sprint is so good, because you have explosive power, which allows you to accelerate quickly. You did the test at the start of the day, so you were fresh, and you were able to perform at your best. You had good technique which helped you to achieve your excellent score. When you did the test, you had just run the 1.5 mile run and built up lots of lactic acid in your legs. This will have affected how good your jump was, because your legs would have been feeling tired and fatigued. Next time, you should do the test fresh so you can jump to the best of your ability. In order to improve your power even more, I recommend plyometrics, which targets specific muscle groups, creating a stretch in the muscle. If you stretch a contracted muscle, it makes the muscle stronger. If the muscles have been stretched, then they create a more powerful contraction. Like a slingshot, it adds power to the forward movement. The muscle performs an eccentric muscle contraction, followed by a powerful concentric muscle contraction. The muscle spindles create a stretch reflex which prevents muscle damage and produces a large amount of force rapidly. At the end of football training sessions, 3 times a week, I recommend that you do 10 box jumps at a challenging height. This will only take 5 minutes and will improve your sporting performance. The 1 rep max test is important in football because you need to get a good upper body strength to be able to push other players off the ball and hold other players off when you're in possession. In the 1 rep max test, you got 47.25, which was good and just under excellent. This is another strength for you because you can put other players under pressure and hold onto the ball without getting tackled. When you did the test, you were feeling good because you were hydrated and you were wearing the right type of clothing. However, your form was not correct because you should isolate the bicep muscle group and you should not have any thrust from your hips when doing the test. The reason you thrusted your hip forward was to get more momentum so you could lift a heavier weight. This is a disadvantage because there is a possibility you could get injured. In order to improve, you should do some core exercises to make sure that your hips are stable so that you don't move your hips forwards and possibly get injured. Also, you should not attempt such a heavy weight because this contributed to your hips going forwards. If you had used correct technique, your results would have been affected, but you would have still done very well. In order to improve your core stability and strength, you need to do heavy weights, and more importantly, you need to improve your core stability. The core muscles stabilize the spine and allow you to have a good posture so that you can exercise your arms and legs without risking injury. At the end of every football session, you should do a plank for 1 minute and you should do 3 repetitions. This will exercise the deep muscles of your torso, making them toned and increase in size. The intensity will feel hard to begin with, but the more you practice the plank, the more your core muscles will adapt and feel less intense. The Harvard Step Test is an indicator of aerobic fitness. This is important in football because you need to be performing just as well in the 90th minute as you were in the first minute. In the Harvard Step Test, your heart rate began at 60 beats per minute and it finished at 81 beats per minute. You had just had lunch, and in the future it will be better to allow a bit more time to digest your food before jumping. When you did the test, it was the only test you did, so you were fresh. This meant that you could perform at your best without experiencing any fatigue. However, this was the first time you did the test, so you didn't stick to the beeps all the time because you weren't familiar with the rhythm. I recommend to improve your aerobic endurance that you do interval training, either running, cycling, or swimming once a week for half an hour at a high intensity. For an example of interval training would be 1 set of 3 repetitions of a 200-meter swim with 30 seconds rest in between each 200. This will improve blood volume, mitochondrial size and density, and improve muscle tone. All of this will help to improve your VO2 max. In summary, your strengths are speed, power, and strength, and your weaknesses are muscular endurance and aerobic endurance. The reason why you have strength and power and speed is because you go to the gym often, and the way to improve your cardiovascular fitness is to spend as much time doing continuous training, interval training, or fartlek training as you do on the weights. By following my training program, you will be able to improve your VO2 max and improve the efficiency of your cardiovascular and respiratory systems and the strength effectiveness of your skeletal muscles.